I never asked to be anyone's hero, let alone a queen's husband. They dragged me before the Elyrian Grand Council in what they called ceremonial restraints. Not real chains, those are for pirates and traitors. No, this was worse. A dress uniform so stiff it felt like armor plating, medals pinned over ribs that still ached from Kael, and the weight of 100 golden-eyed stares drilling into me like targeting beams. The chamber was enormous, walls of living crystal pulsing soft violet light, the council arrayed in crescent tiers like judges at an execution. At the center, elevated on her obsidian throne, sat Queen Eleanor Voss. She was breathtaking in the way a supernova is breathtaking, beautiful, deadly, and best observed from several light years away. Skin like polished black glass, hair a cascade of midnight that seemed to drink the light, and those molten gold eyes that could probably melt steel if she blinked wrong. The herald's voice rang out. The human will kneel. I didn't kneel. I stood there, a head shorter than even the smallest Elyrian present, shoulders square, and waited. Eleanor raised one elegant hand. The chamber went dead silent. Sergeant Ethan Hayes, she said, voice carrying like it owned the air. Hero of the Kael relay. The man who held a collapsing orbital station for 12 hours so 6,000 of my people could reach escape pods. Savior of the 6th Armada. 12 hours and 17 minutes, Your Majesty, I corrected quietly. But who's counting? A hiss of outrage rippled through the senators. You don't correct royalty, especially not a human. Her lips curved, just a fraction, not quite a smile. 17 minutes. And for this service, you have earned a reward beyond price. She rose. The entire council held its breath. You will become my royal consort. The chamber exploded. Shouts, gasps. One senator actually stood and pointed like I'd personally insulted his bloodline. Me, a human, the species they'd only recently stopped calling noisy primates, married to their queen? I kept my face blank, but inside I was running every tactical scenario I knew. This was an honor. This was a weapon. And I was the warhead. Eleanor's gaze locked on mine. For one heartbeat, something impossible happened. A faint emerald glow shimmered across her skin, so quick and subtle I might have imagined it. No one else reacted, just me. Then it vanished. She spoke again, voice cutting through the chaos like a blade. Unless you refuse the honor, which would be unprecedented. Her eyes flicked left, toward the cluster of hardline purists, the old guard who'd blocked every reform for decades. They looked ready to chew vacuum. I understood in that instant. She wasn't rewarding me. She was deploying me, against her own Senate. To get revenge on the Senate, she married a man. And at that moment, neither of us had any idea she would fall in love for real. I met her stare. I accept. The purist faces suggested someone had just detonated a plasma charge in their chests. 3 hours after the council chamber cleared, I was escorted to what they called private quarters. The word private was a joke. The suite could have housed my entire platoon back on the relay station. Walls of living crystal that shifted colors with your mood, or maybe the rooms. A bed the size of a dropship landing pad, and views of the capital's floating spires that would have made any tourist weep. I stood at the window, still in that damn dress uniform, trying to process how I'd gone from holding a collapsing orbital relay to being a queen's political accessory. The door opened without a chime. Queen Eleanor Voss stepped inside. Alone. No guards, no attendants. Just her, in a simpler robe of deep indigo that caught the crystal light like liquid night. She looked smaller without the throne, but no less dangerous. You understand this is political, she said, skipping every pleasantry. I figured that out before you finished the sentence, Your Majesty. She studied me like I was a tactical hollow map she needed to memorize. The purist faction has paralyzed every reform for 6 years. They control the votes. They believe Elyrian blood must remain pure. The word pure came out like she was spitting something bitter. Marrying a celebrated human, a war hero they can't openly slander, forces their hand. They accept integration, or they expose their xenophobia to the entire council and the people. Either way, I win. And if they choose exposure, then I have legal grounds to dismantle them. She stepped closer. I didn't retreat. You are a tool, Sergeant Hayes. Nothing more. We appear together at functions. We perform whatever affection the cameras require. In private, you do as you wish, discreetly. Clear? Crystal, I said. She almost smiled at the pun. Almost. Your military commission is suspended. You answer to me now. Your belongings will be brought. She turned to leave. I spoke before I could stop myself. One question. She paused, back to me. Why me? Specifically. She didn't turn. Because you're impossible to discredit. And because Senator Harlan Reed owes you a life debt he can never repay. I waited. You saved his daughter on Kael. She was among the evacuees. In Elyrian culture, that debt is unbreakable. He can't move against you without violating sacred law. I'm using his honor against him. I exhaled slowly. So I'm not just a prop. I'm leverage. Both. She glanced over her shoulder, gold eyes unreadable. Does that change your acceptance? No, but it would have been nice to know before I said yes in front of the entire Senate. Something flickered in her expression. Regret, maybe. Gone too fast to name. You would have accepted anyway. Probably. But being treated like an asset with a brain instead of a decorative grenade feels better. She said nothing, just left. I sat on the edge of the ridiculous bed and rubbed my face. 15 years of war, and my retirement plan was apparently royal arm candy. The first week was exactly as advertised. I stood where told, walked where directed, kept my mouth shut while Elyrian nobles examined me like a rare specimen in a zoo. Eleanor played her part flawlessly, hand on my arm during receptions, a practiced smile for the hollow cams, the perfect illusion of a queen enchanted by her exotic human consort. In private, she barely acknowledged I existed, which was fine by me. I spent free hours mapping the citadel, old habit from hostile boarding actions. Learned the servant passages, the blind spots, the places cameras didn't reach. On the fourth night, alone in the corridor outside her private wing, I saw it again. She was standing at a window, back to me, staring at the city lights. No attendants, just her. And for maybe 2 seconds, a faint emerald glow traced the line of her wrist, like bioluminescence, but softer, almost hesitant. Then gone. I froze. She didn't turn, didn't seem to notice me. I backed away quietly. Odd. Very odd. But in a palace full of living crystal and floating bridges, a little unexplained glow wasn't the strangest thing I'd seen that week. I filed it away, like everything else. If you've watched this far, then this story is really interesting to you. Please confirm it by clicking like under this video. It doesn't cost you anything, but it will help me understand what story to publish for you next. Let's move on. I've always had a knack for noticing tales. 15 years of boarding actions and corridor fights teach you that much. So when the same soft footsteps echoed 3 corridors behind me for the 3rd night in a row, I decided to stop playing polite. I took a service passage that dead-ended in a maintenance alcove. Narrow, dim, no cameras. I stepped behind a coolant stack and waited. She came around the corner fast, then froze when she saw the empty hall. Small for an Elyrian, maybe 5'10", darker skinned than most courtiers, hair cropped short like she didn't want to bother with it. Gray eyes, not gold. Nervous. I stepped out. You might as well come out, I said quietly. You've been following me since Tuesday. She jumped, then straightened with forced dignity. I was conducting observation on behalf of... No, you weren't. I leaned against the wall, arms loose, giving her space. The Queen's real surveillance rotates 3 operatives who are actually good at it. You're not one of them. Her gray eyes widened. You notice the real ones? I notice everything. It's how I'm still breathing. She studied me for a long beat. Then her shoulders dropped. I'm Mia Voss. The name clicked. The Queen's half-sister. Half, she corrected. My mother was an attendant. Lowborn. The court pretends I don't exist. I nodded slowly. And you wanted to see the human who's pretending to be in love with your sister. I wanted to see the human who's being used by my sister. She lifted her chin. There's a difference. Fair point. One takes effort, the other just requires a spine. A tiny, reluctant smile flickered across her face. You held the Kael relay for 12 hours and 17 minutes. How? Stubbornness. Mostly. I pushed off the wall. Unless you plan to keep lurking in service passages, I'm heading to the old hangar bay. You're welcome to follow. Openly this time. She hesitated, then fell into step beside me. We walked in silence for a while. Something in my chest loosened, a faint warmth I hadn't felt since before the war. Unexpected company that didn't want anything from me. When we reached the hangar, vast, dusty, forgotten, she spoke again. You truly didn't know whose daughter you saved? I shook my head. Names weren't relevant. Lives were. Mia looked at me like I'd said something alien. Senator Harlan Reed, leader of the purists, was on the bridge of the 6th Armada flagship when the relay went dark. His daughter was on one of the last evac shuttles. You bought them the time they needed. He owes you a life debt. Sacred. Unbreakable. I exhaled. And Eleanor's using it to hamstring him. Exactly. He can't attack you publicly without violating every code of honor we have. She's turning his debt into a noose around his own neck. I rubbed the back of my neck. So I'm not just a grenade. I'm a shaped charge. Mia's gaze was steady. You're being used harder than you realized. As we spoke, movement caught my eye through a high viewport. Eleanor, far across the Citadel's inner courtyard, standing alone on a balcony. For a heartbeat, that same emerald glow traced the outline of her silhouette, soft, almost liquid, before vanishing. I nodded toward the window. You ever see that before? The green light around her? Mia followed my gaze, frowned. No, never. What is it? No idea. Happens sometimes when she's alone. Gone in a second. She shrugged. Maybe it's just the crystal reacting to her. Or stress. Royals carry a lot of it. Maybe, but I didn't believe it. Not entirely. Mia glanced at me sideways. You're going to keep playing along? For now? But I don't like being a pawn without knowing the board. She nodded. Then maybe you need an extra set of eyes. Someone nobody watches. I looked at her, really looked. Small, overlooked, sharp. Gaps, I said. She tilted her head. What? People ignore the gaps. And gaps see everything. A slow smile spread across her face. I like that. I offered my hand. Human style. She took it. Her grip was surprisingly firm. Welcome to the team, Mia Voss. She laughed, quiet real. You're impossible, Sergeant Hayes. So I keep hearing. Training Mia became the only part of my day that felt real. The abandoned hangar bay was perfect, cavernous, forgotten, full of rusted cargo frames and old shuttle cradles that made excellent cover. No cameras, no nobles wandering through, just dust and echoes. First session, I handed her a standard training blade. Light, balanced, Elyrian design, but manageable for human grip. She stared at it like it might bite. You're Elyrian, I said. Your people have mandatory combat training from age 12. Royal-adjacent children are exempted. She set the blade down carefully. Too valuable to risk, supposedly. In practice, it just means no one bothered. I picked it up again, offered it hilt first. Then we fixed that. She took it hesitantly. First rule, I told her. Weapons are tools. They don't make you dangerous. Your brain makes you dangerous. The weapon just extends your reach. She nodded, grip tightening. Second rule, everyone underestimates the small one. Use that. Mia glanced down at herself, tall by human standards, but short for Elyrian, then up at me. You're the small one here. Exactly. And I've killed things twice my size because they were too busy looking down to see the knife coming. Her gray eyes sharpened. Interest, not fear. Show me. We started slow. Footwork, grip, basic blocks. She was clumsy at first, stiff, overthinking, but she learned fast. Faster than most recruits I trained. She asked questions that forced me to think. Why do you move like that? She asked one afternoon, after I demonstrated a combat role for the third time. You're not just dodging. You're reading something. The environment, the opponent, the space between moves. I helped her up after her attempt. Combat isn't about strength. It's about information. The one with the clearest picture of reality usually wins. Usually. Sometimes reality just kills you anyway. I tossed her a water flask. She caught it cleanly, reflexes already improving. But you stack the odds. That's all any of us can do. She drank, then asked quietly, Is that why you held Kael? Stacking odds? No. I sat on a crate, suddenly tired in a way push-ups never caused. That was just stubbornness. And some very poor life choices. You didn't think you'd survive. It wasn't a question. I didn't treat it like one. I figured I'd buy time. They'd get out. I'd die doing something useful for once. But you didn't die. No. The 6th Armada came back for me. I stared at the floor. Still don't understand why. Doctrine says don't risk thousands to save one. Mia sat beside me, respectful distance. They came back because Senator Reed's daughter was on the last shuttle. He couldn't let you die. I processed that slowly. I didn't know. You saved 6,000 people without knowing any of their names. Names weren't relevant. Lives were. She looked at me sideways. Why are you telling me this? Because you should know why you're really here. Her voice had gone soft. I met her eyes. Your loyalty should be to your sister. Eleanor is my sister. But she's also the queen. Those are different things. She held my gaze. I'm in the gap, remember? I see everything, including when people are being used. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying Kael. 12 hours and 17 minutes of holding a collapsing station, wounded civilians screaming behind blast doors, plasma burning through my suit seals. I'd done it because it was the job, because dying for something bigger than myself felt like the only win left. Now I was here because of a debt I never asked for, being weaponized without my knowledge. During our next session, Mia arrived early. She'd brought Eleanor's ceremonial cloak, deep indigo, left carelessly on a hook in the corridor outside. Found this, she said. Thought you might want to see. She draped it over a crate. As we talked, the fabric caught the hangar's dim emergency lights, and there it was again. Faint emerald shimmer, tracing the folds like slow breathing. Alive. Not tech. Not reflection. Mia noticed too. Her eyes widened. That's on the cloak, she whispered. I stepped closer. The glow pulsed once, soft, almost hesitant, then faded. Probably just fancy Elyrian weave reacting to body heat, I said. Or some hidden emitter. Mia wasn't buying it. I've handled her cloaks before. Never seen that. We stared at it in silence. Whatever it is, I said finally, it only shows up when she's alone. Or when something's touching her. Mia folded her arms. You think she knows? I think she's hiding it. We didn't say more. But the questions were piling up faster than I could stack odds against them. The censure vote was 3 days away. Whispers in the corridors said the purists had the numbers, barely. One more defection from the moderates and Eleanor's reforms would die before they breathed. She came to my quarters that evening. No announcement, no ceremony. Just her, in a plain gray robe that made her look almost mortal. She closed the door behind her and stood there like someone carrying too much weight. I need to ask you something, she said. No preamble. No Sergeant Hayes. Just quiet. I gestured to the low couch near the window. She didn't sit. There's an ancient rite. The Unity March. A pilgrimage across the capital's floating bridges to the Shrine of Convergence. 7 kilometers. No guards. No security perimeter. The bonded pair walks alone, or nearly alone, through the people. Citizens can approach, speak, offer gifts, make requests. It's meant to prove absolute trust. Between the pair and the people. I raised an eyebrow. Security nightmare. Exactly. That's the point. The last 2 attempts at assassination in 2,000 years ended with the crowd tearing the killers apart before guards arrived. The people guard the march. Not us. She met my eyes. Gold on brown. Steady, but tired. If we do this, publicly, convincingly, it could sway the moderates. Show them this isn't theater. That I'm committed. That integration isn't a whim. I waited. I'm asking Ethan, not ordering. The use of my first name hit harder than it should have. I thought about Mia in the hangar, learning to block a strike, laughing when she finally landed one. About 6,000 strangers I'd never met, alive because I'd been too stubborn to die. About debts and politics, and the way Eleanor's voice cracked just a fraction when she said, asking. On one condition, I said. She tilted her head. Mia walks with us. Openly. No hiding her in the shadows anymore. Eleanor's expression flickered. Surprise, then something softer. The march is for the bonded pair. Tradition. Call it a human custom. We don't abandon family. I held her gaze. She's your sister. She deserves to be seen, not left in the gap. Silence stretched. Then, unexpectedly, she laughed. Quiet. Real. The sound startled both of us. You're more politically dangerous than I anticipated, Sergeant. 15 years of surviving bad odds teaches you angles. She extended her hand, human style. I took it. Her palm was cool, grip firm. The handshake lasted a second longer than necessary. Neither of us acknowledged it. 2 days later, we stood at the starting arch of the floating bridges. Dawn light turned the crystal spires rose gold. I wore white and silver, Elyrian colors, cut for a human frame. Eleanor was resplendent in flowing obsidian and gold. Mia, on my other side, wore gray and silver, her first public royal regalia. She was shaking. I leaned close. Remember Rule 1? My brain makes me dangerous, she whispered. Not the weapon. Exactly. And right now everyone's watching because you're worth watching. For the first time. Her gray eyes met mine. I'm scared. Good. Fear means you care. Now use it. The gates opened. The crowd was already there, thousands lining the bridges, respectful but close. Elyrians of every shade and station. No mob. A living current. We stepped forward. Sovereign. Blessings, human. The sister walks. Mia's shoulders straightened, just a fraction. Eleanor moved with practiced grace, accepting tokens, offering brief words. I scanned rooftops, side spans, old soldier habits. Mia stayed between us, chin high. Halfway across the third bridge, trouble came. A knot of purists pushed through. Young, conservatively dressed, faces righteous. They stopped at the ritual line. Sovereign, their leader called. You shame our blood. You walk with a primate. You parade a half-blood. The crowd shifted, uncertain. Eleanor's hand found my arm. Steady. I felt Mia tense beside me. Then she stepped forward. Before I could stop her, I am Mia Voss, she said, voice carrying. Half-blood, daughter of an attendant. By your old laws, I have no right here. But here's what those laws actually say. She squared her shoulders. The Archive of Kinship, 7th Codex, Clause 42. Let none of shared blood be cast aside in the march, for the bond honors the whole lineage, not merely the sanctioned branches. The leader sneered. You twist. I've had 30 years with nothing to do but read the archives no one else bothered with. I can quote the entire codex. Can you? Silence. Then, from somewhere in the crowd, a single clap. Another. Then applause, scattered at first, then rolling like thunder. The purists retreated. Mia turned back to us. Her confident mask cracked just enough to show the terrified girl underneath. Was that acceptable? She whispered. Eleanor reached out and took her sister's hand. That was extraordinary. We continued. By the 6th bridge the mood had shifted. Chants rose, not purist slogans, but something older. The old march song. Inviting. Welcoming. Eleanor's fingers tightened on my arm. This wasn't supposed to happen. Maybe it stopped being supposed to, I murmured. Maybe it became real. She looked at me, gold eyes uncertain for the first time. We reached the shrine of convergence as the sun dipped low. The resonance crystals inside flared the moment we crossed the threshold. Not staged, not showy. Genuine. As we emerged, the emerald glow appeared fully for the first time in daylight. Soft, warm, wrapping Eleanor like a living aura. She froze, looked down at her own hands as if they belonged to someone else. I squeezed the hand I still held. She didn't pull away, and in that moment, I knew. This was no longer theater. The emerald glow didn't fade when we left the shrine. It clung to Eleanor like mist, soft, living, wrapping her shoulders and trailing down her arms in slow, liquid pulses. The crowd noticed. Gasps rippled outward, then murmurs of awe. Some knelt. Others lifted hands in the old blessing gesture. No one screamed or ran. They just watched, like they recognized something ancient waking up. Eleanor's breath caught. She looked at her own hands again, wide-eyed, almost childlike in her shock. The glow reflected in her gold irises, turning them greener for a heartbeat. I squeezed the hand I still held. Firm. Grounding. She didn't pull away. Mia stared too, mouth slightly open. Eleanor, what is that? I don't know, she whispered. I've never. The chant rose again, louder now. The old march song, but with new words weaving in. The light returns. The bond is true. We walked the final bridge in near silence. The glow dimmed gradually as we neared the citadel gates, fading until only the faintest shimmer remained on her skin, like dying embers. By the time we stepped inside the palace, it was gone. Eleanor released my hand slowly. Her fingers trembled, just once, then steadied. Thank you, she said to Mia first. Voice raw. For what you did on the bridge. For standing. Mia swallowed. I quoted old laws. You're the one who let me stand there at all. Eleanor looked at me next. And you asked for her to walk. You made this possible. I just didn't want her invisible anymore. She nodded. Something unspoken passed between us. Gratitude, maybe. Or the beginning of something scarier. We parted in the antechamber. Guards appeared to escort Mia to new quarters. Official ones, no longer tucked in the servant's wing. Eleanor turned to me. Rest, she said. The vote is tomorrow. We'll need to be ready. I watched her walk away. The last trace of green flickered once along her spine, then nothing. That night the citadel slept. Until it didn't. The explosion came at 3:17. A dull boom from the eastern spire. My quarters were close enough that the shockwave rattled crystal panes and knocked a lamp off the table. Alarm screamed. Red emergency lighting flooded the halls. I was moving before my brain fully caught up. Boots on, shirt half-buttoned, sidearms snatched from the nightstand. Old instincts don't retire. I hit the corridor running. Smoke already billowing from the east wing. Shouts. Crashing debris. Palace guards disorganized. Someone had jammed their comms net. Amateur mistake. Or deliberate. I knew where Eleanor's private chambers were. I sprinted. The eastern spire was chaos. Shattered crystal walls spilling violet light across rubble, bodies, guards mostly, crumpled in the dust. I navigated by memory and instinct, ducking falling beams, checking corners. Her suite was half collapsed. A massive ceiling section had pancaked across the bedchamber floor. Eleanor lay pinned beneath it, lower body trapped, blood spreading dark under her indigo nightrobe. Conscious. Barely. Ethan, don't talk. I dropped beside her, assessing. Left leg, arterial bleed. Heavy debris on her pelvis. Breathing shallow. This is going to hurt, I warned. I braced, gripped the crystal slab, reinforced, designed to shrug off orbital strikes, and lifted. Muscle memory from Kael kicked in. 12 hours of holding a collapsing station, refusing to let go. I'd been too stubborn to die then. I wasn't dying now. The slab moved. Eleanor screamed, short, sharp, then bit it back as pressure released. Fresh blood welled. I dropped the debris, ripped my shirt sleeve, twisted it into a tourniquet around her thigh. Tight. She hissed. Hold this, I ordered, pressing her hand to the knot. Her gold eyes locked on mine, bright with pain, and something else. You came for me. Of course I came for you. It's not of course. Nothing about this is of course. I met her gaze. There is no one else. There's just me. And somewhere in the last month, me stopped being just about survival. She reached up, weak, trembling, and touched my face. You could have stayed safe. No, I couldn't. We stared at each other for one heartbeat too long. Then I helped her sit up, supporting her weight. Can you walk? With help. Then let's get you out before whoever did this comes back. We staggered into the corridor. Alarm still wailed. And then I heard it, clashing steel. A cry. Mia's voice. I half-carried Eleanor toward the sound. We rounded the corner into the training hangar. Mia stood between three masked figures in black combat gear and the inner door, training blade in hand. Stance low, bloody but upright. One assassin raised a pistol. Mia didn't flinch. She lunged. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't perfect. But it was everything I'd taught her. Desperate, furious, using every inch of reach and surprise. She took the first one down with a brutal throat strike before he could react. The second slashed her ribs. She kept moving, kept fighting, buying seconds with blood and grit. The third raised his weapon for the kill. I didn't think. I moved. Years of instinct compressed into one motion. I closed the distance, drove my shoulder into his chest, twisted the pistol free, and ended him. Mia dropped to one knee. I caught her before she hit the floor. Eleanor limped up beside us, pale, shaking, but there. Guards finally poured in. Late, but enough. The hangar fell silent except for labored breathing. Mia looked up at me, blood on her lip, gray eyes fierce. I delayed them, she rasped. You did more than delay, I said. Eleanor knelt, awkward with her leg, took her sister's hand. You're not a Gap anymore, she whispered. Mia managed a bloody smile. Told you, Gaps see everything. And somewhere in the smoke and blood, the three of us understood. This wasn't politics anymore. This was something we'd fight to keep. Dawn light filtered through the medical wing's crystal walls, soft violet turning gold. Mia slept in the bed between us, bandages around her ribs, breathing steady. The physician said she'd heal clean. No permanent damage. Eleanor sat opposite me, leg wrapped in Regan gel, pale but upright. We hadn't spoken much since the guards hauled the assassins away. Just held space. Watch Mia breathe. She broke the silence first. The glow, she said quietly. The emerald light. It's not jewelry. Not tech. Not stress. I waited. It's an old trait. Dormant in the royal line for centuries. A marker. Soul bond awakening. Her voice cracked on the last word. It only ignites with real, unguarded love. No performance. No calculation. The archives say it vanished because royals stopped letting themselves feel anything unguarded. She looked at her hands. No glow now. Just skin. I married you to get revenge on the Senate. To force their hand. I never thought I would fall in love for real. The words hung there. I reached across the bed, took her hand. Cool palm against mine. Was it an act? I asked. Her gold eyes met mine. It stopped feeling like one. Somewhere between the training hangar and the march and the bomb. It stopped being politics. I squeezed gently. I held Kael for 12 hours and 17 minutes because I'd stopped caring about myself. Dying for something useful seemed like the best I could hope for. I looked at Mia, then back at her. Now I have 2 reasons to stay alive. That's more than I've had in 15 years. A small, real smile touched her lips. Is that a declaration? It's whatever you need it to be. She leaned across the bed, careful of Mia, and kissed me. Brief. Uncertain. Nothing like the practiced public displays. Real. When she pulled back, her eyes were bright. When she wakes, she said, we tell her everything. What we're going to be. Family. The word surprised her as much as it did me. Something I didn't know I wanted until a stubborn human showed me what I was missing. I almost smiled. I've been told I'm impossible. You are. She squeezed my hand. But apparently impossible is exactly what I needed. Mia stirred. Her gray eyes opened. Found us both watching her. Widened. You're both here, she whispered. Because you're family, Eleanor said softly. Because we're stubborn, I added. Because some things are worth more than politics. Eleanor took her sister's other hand. And you are one of them. Mia's eyes filled. Not from pain. From 30 years of being invisible finally ending. Tears slipped down her cheeks. I thought this was just something. It started as just something, I said. It became real. Mia looked between us. Is that wise? Becoming real? Eleanor's voice was gentle. Real is terrifying. Real can be broken. Real costs you things you can't get back. But it's also worth having. She squeezed Mia's hand. Both of you are worth having. The 3 of us sat there as morning light filled the room. Soldier. Queen. Forgotten sister. 3 stubborn people who found each other through politics, debts, and a corridor held against impossible odds. It wasn't a happy ending. Happy endings are for stories that stop too soon. This was a beginning, messy, uncertain, and infinitely more valuable for being real. Outside, the capital woke to a changed world. Inside, so did we. Thank you for listening to this story to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Write in the comments what moment in this story impressed you the most. And also check out the other videos that just appeared on your screen. See you in the next video.